Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matt Kidd, and I'm the Executive Director of Reaching Out. I said this multiple times, but on behalf of everybody involved with the organization, thank you so much for being here this weekend. We have with us slightly over 1,400 people this weekend, which is pretty amazing. On the student side, I think we have people coming from something like 85 schools. We might be a little above that now. On the company side, we have 88 corporate partners with us this weekend, which is pretty mind-blowing. This is the 18th conference, so watching the growth of this organization has been pretty incredible for me, and I've only been around for about 6-7 years at this point. So a quick question and poll for the room. When you guys hear Reaching Out or ROMBA, how many of you just think about this conference? And it's okay, be honest, please. Well, you're all wrong, and let me show you why.
What ROMBA is doing right now is bringing together communities of people
to see the
across
incredible growth of
businesses.
ROMBA to, I believe, 1,400 attendees this year is kind of mind-blowing.
Where I can just be myself. There's no pretense for anything.
I was so impressed and honestly inspired.
It's nice to get to have a channel where you can understand what other schools are doing and what their best practices are, and I think it really helps to enrich the content that we're able to put out.
It's very much a coaching process to say, let's outreach early if you need me or another one of the leaders in the room so that you feel that you've got people who are part of your team.
There's only so many LGBT people, and then there's only so many women, and it's really valuable to have a space that you can go to where you find other people.
So I really love seeing that because it just shows how much the organization has grown even in the last 2 years, number one. But number two, it represents a lot of what, to me, and what to, I think, our board and a lot of the students who are pretty intimately involved with this organization, what it really means. So the first of those things is intersectionality. The LGBT community is much more diverse than just a bunch of white cisgender gay guys. And I think we're finally starting to get that. And hopefully some of the content that you're seeing here is reflecting that. But I think organizationally, the way that we think about that is really by lifting ourselves up and empowering each other, we can help the entire community as a whole. When people ask me what is Reaching Out about, I can throw out the mission, which is to educate, inspire, and connect LGBT MBAs. That's the formal line. The informal line that I give is this organization is about creating the next out power leaders who in 10 years, it's not just gonna be one out CEO for a Fortune 500 company, but it's gonna be 10, and it's not a story because it doesn't matter. What that also means is that this organization is actually about something that is beyond diversity and inclusion. Diversity to me is simply about checking a box or making sure you have the right number of people in the room. Inclusion is about making sure that they're all heard. But if we look at kind of social movement history, if we look at the civil rights era, if we look at gender equality, they've received diversity, they've received inclusion, so there are policies, there are laws in place to protect them, to help include them. But there's still a gap, and those social movements are still going on at this time. And that's something that I personally don't want to be seeing for the LGBT community in 20, 30 years. And what fills that gap, what helps us move beyond where some of those other social movements have hit speed bumps, is to focus on power and influence. And that's what this organization is about. Now, how we're doing that is through some of the programming, but also just by connecting you guys. Think about it from those of you in the room. You're all kind of type A people. You're all super smart. Many of you will go into companies and will aggressively climb your way to the top there. Many of you will hopefully found your own companies. And the connections that you form at events like this by reaching out to your LGBT peers create a really strong network of these smart, aggressive LGBT people. And together, we can work to lift each other up. And that's what this organization is about. We do that through programs like the LGBT Fellowship. So many of you may not know, last year we started a program with what turned out to be 18 schools. These schools set aside a couple spots for LGBT candidates. They get a scholarship with it, and then with us, they get leadership development and mentorship programming. So I'd actually like to ask the fellows to stand up because there are 25 of them here this weekend, I think. So these are our first class. I will tell you that the number of schools participating in the program has already grown. For the current application cycle, I think we're at 26. So this will hopefully catch fire, and this creates a strong group of leaders. But here's the thing, you don't need to be a fellow or somebody who's selected for a program like that really to empower yourself. It's really about building your network, keeping those connections alive. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard where somebody says, you know, those people that I met at ROMBA I'm still in touch with, and I put a call into them and they helped me with this. It happens surprisingly regularly. And to that end, something that I'll announce today is that in the spring, in Q2, Reaching Out will be launching an LGBT MBA association. This will help create those bonds and keep those bonds so you can keep up with your classmates, your peers, even into your professional years, so that way we can kind of build what is the ultimate gay mafia. What I kind of love about this is actually that it gets back to the reason that some students from Harvard and Yale really created the first ROMBA conference, which is how the organization started, in the first place. And they didn't create it because they wanted to recruit. They created it because they realized that there was power in numbers, that there was power in bringing people together, and that they really could impact change for the greater LGBT community by doing that. And so we actually have one of the founders with us here, James Robertson. And James has been on our board for many years, but is now actually stepping off and moving on to an advisory council for us. But I actually have some folks who want to say something to James. So if we could show him that.
Hi, James.
James Robertson.
Hi, James.
James, when we met 10 years ago, I would have never imagined we'd still be together in 2015 working with Reaching Out.
From our little seed so long ago, you built a beautiful flower.
Under your vision and leadership, Reaching Out was able to grow into an organization that's touched thousands of LGBT students and professionals.
You gave me guidance to find some friends and create a team to organize ROMBA for 2014.
But look at this incredible legacy that you're leaving behind.
I think that you have been the beating heart of Reaching Out.
The track record and trajectory of Reaching Out over the last 15 years speaks for itself.
It was always my honor and my pleasure to work with you.
Thank you, James, for inspiring me to be an agent of change.
Thank you for your vision. Thank you for your leadership.
Much love, James, and thank you for everything that you've done.
And I can only hope and dream to have half the impact that you've made.
I look forward to much success for you and for Reaching Out.
James, I know something that I've always admired about you is how passionate you are that students need to access, they need to have access to each other, they need to have access to this programming in order to learn and to grow. And with that in mind, something that I would like to give to you. It's not much, but our LGBT student fund that gives students access, we would like to name that the James Robertson Fund. So again, thank you so much.